Once upon a time, there lived a wealthy and humble man named Kelvin. Despite his riches, he couldn't find a wife who truly loved him. Many were attracted to his wealth, but none cared for him genuinely. Determined to find true love, Kelvin disguised himself as a common mechanic apprentice with the help of his friend, the owner of a local mechanic workshop. Together, they devised a plan. Kelvin would disguise himself as a humble apprentice in the workshop, forsaking his luxurious lifestyle to mingle with ordinary folk. With his friend's approval, Kelvin donned worn-out overalls and a greasy cap, blending seamlessly into the workshop's bustling atmosphere. As Kelvin immersed himself in his new role, he noticed a young woman named Angela who often visited the workshop, selling delicious food to the workers. Angela's warm smile and friendly nature captured Kelvin's heart. His friend had spoken highly of Angela, praising her honesty and kindness. One sunny afternoon, Angela made her rounds at the mechanic workshop, serving food to the hungry workers. When she reached Kelvin, he insisted he wasn't hungry, claiming he had already eaten, but Angela could see the hunger in his eyes, a silent plea for nourishment. Despite his protestations, she knew he needed food but lacked the means to purchase it. With a knowing smile, Angela brought out a plate and served Kelvin without hesitation. Grateful for her kindness, Kelvin thanked her warmly and began to eat. However, his gesture didn't go unnoticed by the other workers in the workshop. The jealous murmurs began to spread among them. "We've been here for years, and Angela has never offered us food on credit. Why does Kelvin get special treatment?" One of them grumbled. Another chimed in, "Is it because he's a handsome guy?" Angela simply smiled at their remarks, choosing not to dignify their jealousy with a response. Instead, she gracefully went about her business, leaving the envious chatter behind. Kelvin, sensing the tension, attempted to defuse the situation. "Hey, guys, let's not make a big deal out of this," he said with a chuckle, trying to ease the atmosphere. Despite the envy of the other workers, Kelvin appreciated Angela's kindness and refused to let their jealousy dampen his gratitude. As he enjoyed his meal, he couldn't help but admire Angela's generosity and genuine spirit, knowing that her actions spoke volumes about the purity of her heart. The following day, Angela arrived at the workshop as usual, continuing her tradition of serving food to the workers. Kelvin couldn't help but notice her kind actions once again, and couldn't contain his curiosity. He approached her and asked why she was going out of her way to help him. With a gentle smile, Angela replied, "It's nothing, Kelvin. Aren't we friends? Besides, God encourages us to help one another whenever we can." Kelvin was taken aback by Angela's sincerity and kindness. After experiencing so much disappointment and betrayal from other women, he found it hard to believe that someone like Angela existed. Before Angela left for the day, Kelvin took a leap of faith and invited her to his modest home, revealing that it was his birthday that weekend. Angela accepted the invitation with quiet acceptance, showing no excitement or hesitation. As Angela departed, Kelvin's friend, the owner of the workshop, couldn't help but remark, "See? I told you Angela is a wonderful girl. She's the perfect match for you, Kelvin." Kelvin, still in disbelief, replied with a grin, "Calm down, my friend." They both shared a knowing smile, understanding that something special was beginning to blossom between Kelvin and Angela. As Angela watched the taxi pull up in front of her house, she couldn't help but feel surprised. Kelvin had sent a taxi for her? It seemed unbelievable. After all, the Kelvin she knew struggled to afford even a simple meal, let alone an expensive taxi ride. As she approached the taxi, the driver confirmed her identity, further adding to Angela's confusion. When Angela asked the driver who sent him, he replied that it was Kelvin. Shocked, Angela hesitated for a moment before calling Kelvin to confirm. Kelvin reassured her that he had indeed sent the taxi and told her not to worry, promising to explain everything when she arrived at his house. Sitting in the back of the taxi, Angela's mind raced with questions. What could Kelvin possibly have to explain? How had he suddenly come into the means to afford such a gesture? Despite her curiosity, Angela trusted Kelvin and eagerly anticipated their conversation. As the taxi drove through the fancy neighborhood, Angela couldn't help but dream of living in such a beautiful place. When they arrived at Kelvin's huge house, Angela was amazed. Kelvin greeted her looking sharp, and they sat down for a fancy meal. Over dinner, Kelvin explained why he had pretended to be a mechanic apprentice. Angela was stunned by his honesty and determination to find true love. Kelvin then asked about Angela's family, and she sadly revealed that she was an orphan. Despite her past, Angela had moved on and found strength within herself. Touched by Angela's resilience, Kelvin asked her to be his girlfriend, and Angela happily agreed. Their love grew stronger. Kelvin felt it was time for Angela to meet his parents, eager for them to see the wonderful person he had fallen in love with. However, he hesitated to disclose Angela's orphan status to his parents, fearing their reaction. When they arrived at Kelvin's parents' house, Angela was greeted with warmth and hospitality. After a delightful meal, conversation turned to Angela's family background. With a heavy heart, Angela revealed that she was an orphan. The news struck a nerve with Kelvin's parents, triggering memories of a past encounter with an orphan who had betrayed their trust and tarnished their family's reputation. This painful experience had left them with a deep-seated prejudice against orphans, leading them to vow never to associate with them again. Kelvin attempted to defend Angela, emphasizing her kindness and integrity, but his parents remained steadfast in their disapproval. Feeling torn between his love for Angela and his loyalty to his parents, Kelvin left with Angela, his heart heavy with disappointment. As they drove home, Angela couldn't hold back her tears, feeling rejected and hurt by Kelvin's parents' reaction. Kelvin, seeing her distress, gently reassured her of his unwavering love and commitment. He vowed to always stand by her side, no matter the obstacles they faced. Despite his parents' disapproval, Kelvin remained steadfast in his love for Angela. They decided to move forward with their relationship, ultimately getting married in a simple ceremony attended by a select few friends and family members. Though Kelvin's parents were absent, their absence could not stop the joy and love shared between Kelvin and Angela. After returning from their honeymoon, Kelvin's friend invited them to his daughter's birthday celebration. Excited for the occasion, they set off in high spirits. However, tragedy struck when Kelvin's phone slipped from his grasp while driving. In his attempt to retrieve it, he lost control of the wheel, resulting in a collision with an oncoming car. The impact of the crash was severe, and they were rushed to the hospital with critical injuries. When Angela regained consciousness, the doctor delivered the devastating news. Kelvin had not survived the accident. Overwhelmed with grief, Angela felt as though her world had shattered into a million pieces. The pain was unbearable, and she couldn't fathom a life without Kelvin by her side. Angela's heartbreak was so profound that she fainted, overcome by the weight of her loss. The doctors worked tirelessly to revive her, and after several agonizing moments, she regained consciousness once more. In the weeks that followed, Angela remained in the hospital, grappling with the harsh reality of Kelvin's untimely death. Finally, after a long and difficult recovery process, Angela was discharged from the hospital. However, the pain of losing Kelvin lingered like a heavy cloud, casting a shadow over her every step. Though her physical wounds began to heal, the emotional scars ran deep, a constant reminder of the love she had lost. 2 days after Angela was discharged from the hospital, Kelvin's parents arrived with some hefty men, imposing their will upon her. They allowed Angela only to pack a few of her belongings, asserting that any woman without children had no rights to her husband's property. Angela felt devastated, with nowhere to turn and nobody to confide in. But then she remembered her friend, with whom she used to share a room. Angela immediately called her, pouring out her heart and explaining what Kelvin's parents had done to her. Her friend graciously invited her over, offering her a safe haven. Everything seemed to be going well for Angela in her friend's house, until Amanda's husband, Peter, began to take an interest in her. Each time she left for work, Peter would conveniently appear in the kitchen or her room. Despite his advances, Angela firmly rejected him. Peter, a jobless man, grew increasingly desperate and devised a sinister plan to frame Angela. Pretending to be a changed man, he gained Angela's trust, deceiving her with his false promises. Angela innocently believed him, unaware of his ulterior motives. One fateful day, Peter offered Angela a glass of wine while she was cooking in the kitchen. Reluctantly, she accepted, but soon began to feel drowsy. Turning off the gas cooker, Angela went to her room to sleep. However, Angela was awakened by Amanda's furious shouts. Before Angela could explain, Amanda accused her of lying on the same bed as her husband, unleashing her wrath upon her. In the dead of night, Angela found herself sobbing and pleading with God, overwhelmed by the trials that befell her. Feeling desperate and hopeless, she cried out, begging the Lord to end her suffering, as she could no longer bear the burdens of this sinful world. As Angela wandered down the dark, desolate street, a car approached her, stopping just in front of her. Terrified, she attempted to flee, but a compassionate man emerged from the car, urging her to stay. Concerned for her safety, he asked why she was out at this late hour. Pouring her heart out, Angela recounted the harrowing events that had unfolded. Touched by her plight, the man felt a surge of pity for her. Without hesitation, he insisted that she come with him to his house. Recognizing the danger of being alone on the streets at midnight, Angela gratefully accepted his offer, relieved to have found a ray of hope in her darkest hour. With a sense of gratitude and relief, she climbed into the car. He then drove her home, offering her a safe refuge from her troubles. The next day, he introduced himself as Barrister Joshua. Angela was surprised because she had heard of him before. He was one of the strongest barristers in town. Someone had suggested him to her when she was thrown out of her husband's house, but she couldn't afford his services because he was so expensive for her. Barrister Joshua took Kelvin's parents to court, fiercely fighting on Angela's behalf. He skillfully navigated the legal proceedings and emerged victorious in the case between Angela and her in-laws, who had no choice but to return her husband's properties to her. Angela expressed her heartfelt gratitude to him for everything he had done. "It's nothing, Angela. You know I like you so much and will do anything for you," Joshua replied with a warm smile, his eyes reflecting genuine kindness and admiration for Angela. Overwhelmed with emotion, Angela excused herself and left Joshua in the living room to fetch some wine, eager to celebrate their hard-earned victory together. With a sense of relief and gratitude, Angela couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope for the future, knowing that she had a steadfast ally in Barrister Joshua by her side. Despite facing adversity, kindness, perseverance, and seeking help can lead to triumph and reclaiming what's rightfully yours. To all our viewers, if you enjoyed this story and its message, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content. Your support means the world to us. See you on our next video.